Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive.
Welcome to Breakfast with the Boys. I'm Tony the Thrill Hill, number 80 in your calendar on your famous, how would you say, sky cam? I don't know. Bottom line.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I went in a different direction because the bottom line is I'm with one of my boys here. We're going to have a great time today on episode 8 right here. I've got a close, I don't want to say a friend because he's almost like a son to me that's going to be on our show today. I go back and I really got a great story to talk about from a hoop it up standpoint, but we'll get into that in terms of how I first just met him. But we want to thank everybody for listening to us. Share with your friends. Tell them, hey, subscribe to the show. That's what it's all about because we're just having fun and just kind of keeping it real. The key thing about our deal is that, we want to talk about family. We want to talk about, experiences, and we want to talk about breakfast. Talk about literally, this is a smorgasbord, Cole. We just eat it up, and have some fun. So with that being said, I'm going to go to the big fellow over here, Big Swole from back in the day,
Yes, sir.
to take on the lead today.
All right. Well, hey, before we get into it, we introduce our guests. We always got to do the housekeeping over here. First thing first, we shout out murraymedia.net. Beautiful studio we're in, the great production. That's all thanks to them. And then, Pops, we gotta talk about our favorite jam, the jingle of the day, our intro music. Mr. Kurt McGirt himself with "Have You Ever Took a Journey?" I'm gonna get the vocals right eventually.
Yeah, I probably need to step in on that one. Have you ever took a journey? All right, let's get out of there, man.
We actually got somebody who'd probably be better for it, a little musician on the side over here. So let me go ahead and get into it, man. With us today, we have my old AAU running mate, my backcourt mate. I knew him way before y'all knew him catching touchdowns. But y'all might know him a little bit better, someone who's had over 500 catches in the NFL, an all-pro wide receiver, down here in Dallas, up in Buffalo, all around the world, third all-time leading receiver in SMU history, Mr. Cole Beasley himself. So, man, appreciate you coming to join us.
I appreciate y'all having me. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, man. Last time I saw you, we were out at your house in Austin, and my wife was falling in love in Hill Country talking about, why don't we live here? And I said, well, I didn't play 10 years in the NFL. That's why we don't live here.
Hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. And we're going to talk about it. I want you to be able to get a chance to talk about it. But we go way back. I had the luxury, I had the luxury of being able to coach this guy for several years, and we got some really good stories. But again, we just want to talk, just talk about Cole, and it's not about me. I want to talk about you, talk about family. We're all believers. We believe, Philippians 4:13, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So that gives us our body and our foundation. But I want to talk about your family, not necessarily your immediate family, but I want to talk about your parents and how they impacted your life and et cetera. But I also want to put the ball in your court because you guys were my backcourt back in the day. And for you folks out there, I was an AAU coach, and I had what's called green light action. Now, I don't want to, you can say whatever you want, but the bottom line is that as long as they can shoot anytime they want, as long as they can explain if there's a guy open, they had a good reason to say that, hey, there's no reason for me to pass it to them, then they were in. Now, the bottom line is they took a shot and the guy was wide open and they missed a shot. Oh, coach was on him, because that's the way I rolled.
Yeah, I was going to hear about it.
I was the kind of coach. Now, you guys remember, I was the kind of coach that bottom line is that you're on the left side of the court and you went up for a layup and used your right hand, guess what? You just kind of come sit down with me. Mm-hmm. That's the way I rolled over there, and so and that's the way we rolled. But you know what? I had some players, and I'm just delighted and thrilled to have you here, Cole, without a question.
Yeah. That's a good, interesting segue. We did have some players. So I got to hear from both of y'all on this. I'm going to start with Cole, and I'm going to bring it to you. For the viewers out here, on our AAU team alone, I think we had 6 guys go play Power 5 football. Mm-hmm. We had a guy play wide receiver at Texas, a guy play wide receiver at Arizona, a guy play wide receiver at A&M, defensive line at Oklahoma State. Like, we were kind of stacked.
Yeah, we had athletes.
We might have had bad, but we had athletes. Yeah. So Cole, man, for you, man, when did you realize, like, man, I'm special. Like, I could take this thing somewhere.
I don't know if it was like a realization of I'm special, but it's always, since as long as I can remember, maybe 8 years old, that's all I ever wanted to do. And, there's always those people who tell you that you're not going to do that, but I 1,000% believe that I would do that from the jump.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a basketball tournament, and it was, you remember that play when it was man and they be pressing, we fake up and go deep.
Yep.
They threw me one time. It was a little high. It was a little high, and I didn't go up and grab one hand. And coach started talking shit. He was like, "Hey, I thought you said you were a receiver, man. You're supposed to go get that."
That's right.
But I took stuff like that to heart, though. So part of that is what made me what I did, or what I did throughout my career. I always took stuff personal. So I don't know.
Yeah, but here's the crazy thing about it, and you talk about that. It's interesting you brought that up because I'm the basketball coach. Yeah, I'm football mentality. There's no question about it. I'm football mentality. But we're basketball, and I love basketball. I got a group of ball players. Again, I got football players. I got athletes, basketball players, baseball players. There's a similarity with Cole and I. One is that we both went to college as wide receivers, but we were both quarterbacks in high school. We both led our teams in high school. We both played baseball. We both played football. We both played basketball. But the thing is that I knew that you were going to be a football player. Now, how good you were going to be, I didn't know. You were an athlete, but how good you were, I didn't know. Because every time you come over to the house, which we had you every weekend, it seemed like, and I want to talk football, I want to talk basketball, you got a tape for me to watch of you playing football. every game, and I'm trying to get you to focus on basketball, and he's got a football tape for me. You know what? And it was that good that, when we talk about it, it was that good that, I used to go watch you play in high school, sit up there with your mom, and as dad was coaching, et cetera. But the bottom line is that, do you recall always bringing them tapes for me to watch?
I remember bringing a few. I don't remember bringing them every time.
What? Hey.
Man,
I remember bringing a few.
Yeah. So for me, in hindsight, obviously you don't realize it at the time. There's a couple of moments where I'm like, oh shoot, like I could have told y'all Cole was like that. One was we would run suicides at the end. If you recall, if you won, you would tell them you could sit out. You say, hey, whoever takes first. So it wasn't like if everyone was trying to win. I couldn't beat Cole no matter if I false started, no matter if I fake touched the line. Cole was beating me in a suicide. So I was like, man, this dude's really that fast. Fast forward to 8th grade, the posts on the team at that point in basketball are starting to try to dunk, right? Mm-hmm. Me and Cole about the same size, 5'6". For some reason, Cole's up here almost dunking it, man. Ball's coming off the back of the rim. I'm like, wait a second. I'm still trying to touch the backboard. Like, what we got going here? And then, Pops, the last thing I got for you, if you recall this, you remember us going to his track meet? Watching him long jump?
Oh, man, absolutely. I've never seen anybody just go. I mean, when you used to hit the board, you didn't go deep. I mean, you did go deep, but you went up. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about some elevation. You kind of threw me for a loop over here. I came back and said, "Man, what is this over here?" The worst thing, the worst thing that happened to us, Cole, though, was that in the 8th grade, when you kind of hit the back of the rim, I don't think you really threw it down until about the 9th. Was it 9th or?
It was like late in the summer before.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that when you hit the back of the rim on the slam, I was screwed. Because the bottom line, Cole wanted to slam on every play over here. Every time, warm-ups, I'm saying layups, bottom line, trying to slam. Look, Coach, check this out.
I was just trying to get permission to dunk in the game.
Yeah, you were trying to get it, but I'll tell you, hey.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we had some good times. Before we start talking about, some of the grown-up years, Paul, I got to take us back to the very first road trip that we went on. So we met.
I already know what story you're about to tell.
And we met Cole at AAU.
But we probably got to go. We probably go to AAU. Let's go to Hoop It Up first.
Sorry, we met Cole.
Let's go to Hoop It Up. So let's go to Hoop It Up first, Cole, because I want you to talk about it. So we're at Hoop It Up, man. We're watching basketball. I'm scouting. I got Zach. I got you. I got Dan. And we're walking around there, and I'm looking for height. I'm not looking for, I'm not looking for a player. I'm looking for that 6'4", 6'5" guy. Although we were just 8, 9 years old, I'm still looking for height, right? And so we're playing, and I'm seeing this little white boy just taking these guys to the hoop and talking smack. I said, wait, who is this dude? And so I sat there and I watched for a little bit, Cole. I checked you out for a little bit, and I ran, and I got Zach. You remember Zach? I got Zach. I got Anth. I got Dan. I say, man, check this out. We got to get this guy on the team. And the bottom line, they looked at me and said, Coach, we're in. I said, okay, well, we're going to make that move. So that's how it started. And then I had to talk to moms and pops. And moms was my, well, pops was always cool with me. Moms was my ace right-hand man. I mean, your mom's was always there. Love her, Danette. I mean, I love the family, but she was always there, you know. And so I tried to convince her. I said, hey, my name's Tony Hill, Dallas Cowboy.
I remember the voice on the message machine.
Hey, do you remember that? Hey, had nothing to do with basketball. I'm going like, hey, I'm Tony Hill, number 80, all-time, second all-time leading receiver. I didn't talk anything about football. I mean, anything about basketball, but I'd like to have your son on our team. You know, it wasn't really a great introduction because I'm talking football, but it turned out great. I mean, eventually, moms, did she talk to you about it? How'd that go? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, I remember them at first. They were like, I don't know if we can afford it.
Yeah.
But, me being a competitor, I always wanted to play. So they didn't even really have to ask me. It was more them deciding if they were going to let me do it or not.
Right.
They knew what I wanted to do.
All right. So they knew what you wanted. So now, so we're going to fast forward, as you said. I'm going to let you do the prelude into this, but in terms of, so now we got Cole. I picked Cole up, got him on our team. We got 1 week before another tournament. We got a tournament going. I don't really know Cole, but I got, Anthony. I want to make sure Anthony and Cole together because I want Cole to feel good that, be on the team. And we're driving to Arkansas. Now, you got to remember, I don't know Cole. I don't know how he's jamming, what's his groove, and how he's feeling, et cetera. But I just want to make sure.
The first thing I remember was we played golf or something one time before practice. Before we went to Arkansas. That was the first memory I had.
Oh, we hit the driving range.
I went all out for you.
We were recruiting at 8, 9 years old.
You took us to the driving range.
Oh, you must have been special, but I'm going to tell you right now. All right. Okay. So now, we got driving range. So I'm really throwing it out for him. I'm going after my man. And again, I mean, Anthony could fill it up, and I wasn't. I mean, I knew Cole could go, but I didn't know he could go the way that he could go. And so I just want to make sure everything's good. And I got to remember, we're 8, 9 years old. We're going to a tournament in Arkansas. He's only been there for a week, and how you gonna explain? He's supposed to know the plays and et cetera. I mean, that's another thing. But I got this good feeling. I've got a good feeling with you, Cole. So now, did we have a convertible? Did I take the convertible that time?
Yes.
Right, yeah. I took the convertible. I had a convertible ride. We're going down to I'm really rolling out the red carpet for you. See, you know what I'm talking about? Go into it.
So then, it's on a road. Everyone knows a road trip's about the music. You got to have the right jams, get your mind right. We kick it to Cole. We say, all right, Cole, what you want to listen to? We're trying to get a feel for him. At this time, Little Elm is a very small town, so I'm thinking this is a country boy. I'm expecting him to put something on that, quite frankly, we're not gonna really be feeling. Cole, you remember what you put on first?
Yeah, I remember because there were CDs back then.
Yep.
So I had the little binder, and I was big on music, so I always had my binder full of stuff. But I put the 100% Genuine in there.
That's exactly where you would, big guy.
Yeah.
And me and Anthony, I looked over at Anthony. Anthony looks over at me, and says, we got a player.
Hey. He's still my favorite R&B,
Is he really?
R&B artist to this day.
I
know he's Usher. Classic. He's Usher probably, but I'm straight.
Usher's the man, but Usher went to we went a little bit of a pop realm. Mm-hmm. Genuine kept it true R&B.
100%.
100%, no pun intended. So, hey, Cole, before this is a funny.
That's way too funny though. I just want to let you know. Hey, he pops out Genuine. I'm trying to figure out what is going on here? And after that, it was on. It was on from that day on.
Yeah, and as you say, you've always been a big music guy. Cole, I still remember being at your house and you being like, "Man, I got something to tell you." I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Did you know that Paul Wall is white?" And
right. I had no idea. I'd never seen him before.
So now fast forward, you dabbled in some music, man. Who do you think? Who would you say are your inspirations?
Eminem for sure. 100% there. I love Paul though. Anything Houston, I listen to a lot of Chameleonaire.
This is Houston.
Now I still keep up. So now it's that Mexican OT,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like music in general. I mean Eminem because he was like the only good white person rapping at the time. I feel like other than Paul Wall, but. I mean, now probably my favorite artist right now is Kendrick.
Yeah,
if I had to say.
Yeah,
but
I mean that's pretty timely, man. He just put out some heat this summer.
oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm Team Kendrick.
Yeah, I figured that. I figured that. But so, Pops, I mean, man, we go way back. We could go a million different directions. One thing I think is really interesting, as we talked about, you talked about the beginning, right? Like how we got together. Man, one thing my dad used to say to us when he was coaching us, when we would try to talk back, and you ain't did it, he would say, man, until you play 10 years in the league, man, don't say nothing to me. Like y'all don't have the accolades. So I've still had to be quiet, 35 years old. Now we have somebody 10 years in who could talk back to you a little bit.
That's good stuff, Anthony. I like how you get to that. Yeah, back in the day, though, for our listeners and et cetera, though, back in the day, I mean, I had athletes, but I used to get that lip service from, they all knew better than me and et cetera.
Yeah, I was about to say, I talked back then, too.
Hey, I got lip service from Cole, I got from Anthony, I got it from Dan, I mean, if they're listening, from all my players. But here's the deal. FYI, I was a coach, and what I did is, basketball was my love, though. I mean, I was a football player, I love football, but I love basketball, and obviously, because obviously coaching, and then having a chance to be with the kids and et cetera. But, I'm coaching these guys, and they're all telling me how to do it, what I need to do it, and and giving me lip service. I mean, they're polite. I mean, from the standpoint of they're respectable. Yeah, I'm getting lip service. Hey, man, you ain't a basketball player. Hey, you're a football player. I say, hey, man, hey, until you become an all-pro, until you catch over 479 passes, before you catch 51 touchdowns, I don't want to hear a word from you. And now my son, cleverly, nice intro. I like the way that you eased into that segment. Says, hey, we got somebody that's been there that can tell you. Now, what do you want to say? So, will you ever tell your kids something like that?
For sure. My 9-year-old right now knows better than me. So
right.
in anything. So even when he was probably like 6 or 7, he's already talking back to me, and I'm like, dude, I thought this was supposed to be later.
Yeah, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Is that what you're going to tell me?
He's just as hot. He's probably more hot-headed than I am. I'm kind of worried. I got to tame him a little bit.
And FYI, hey, Cole was a player, and Cole didn't take no mess. I'm talking about even at a young age, he didn't take no mess. And I guess we just got to go there because I want to talk about your career and et cetera. But Anthony, we got to go there. I mean, you know where we're going with it. And the crazy thing is, I was out of town for this game. Talk to me. Put me back in perspective.
Put it back in perspective, man. Before I want to make sure the details are right. Cole, what was the name of the school? Because this was a rival school that you played against. That was now, I want to say it was Roosevelt. Was it Roosevelt that used to play with Little Elm or Madison? One of those schools.
It was. You talking about Ranch View?
Might have been. Here's what I'll bring it back for you, man. Cole's mom used to tape every game. Every game. So good and the bad, we had it.
Oh, okay. No, they weren't. I didn't play them in high school.
I thought it was.
No. I didn't play them in high school.
Oh, you know where we're going on this.
Yeah. That was a new team that I've never faced before.
Hey, so a lot of people, especially watching people on TV and football, right? Like we're all tough on the couch saying what we would do, could do, and this guy's not that tough. I've seen firsthand how tough Cole is, actually. So the story goes. And I don't know if maybe I'll let Cole tell the story, but the background is we're playing an 8 a.m. game, small gym. Team's got 15 people on their team. We run 6-7 deep.
Right.
So keep that in mind on our squad. They're starting to foul a little bit harder and harder. We're talking some trash. We get to the end of the game. Cole, do you remember how this thing jumps off?
Somebody was shooting a free throw, and I was standing at half court. We were shooting free throws. So I was at half court, and there was this dude standing next to me. And he said, I don't know how we're losing to y'all. Y'all are sorry. I say, because y'all are worse. And then they get the rebound. They come the other end. They shoot. And then I grab the board. And then I'm going the other way. And this dude just same dude I was talking to at half court just tries to tackle me. So then I threw the ball at him.
Wait, but you didn't just throw it. Like, how close was he to you when you threw it?
He was right there. He just ran into me. So, and he didn't run away. He was standing there. So I chunked it at him.
So the bottom line for our listeners, Cole is being really passive in terms of this explanation because I'm doing an autograph session. I very seldom miss any games. And the bottom line is that I heard your version because obviously the next week you're at the house. I heard Anthony's version. But the bottom line is that the guy takes you down, you get up and fire the ball. Now, you got to remember, Cole was first team all-district, always was a quarterback, even though they were young.
A pitcher, too.
And a pitcher, too, right, exactly, pitcher, too. So he knew how to throw the ball. I mean, he drilled it at the guy,
Right in his face.
Right, and they came out the stands. I get a call I'm freaking in Alaska. I get a call, Coach, Dad, you don't know what happened, man. You should have seen this, man. They came out the stands, Cole busted this guy, blah, blah, blah.
Bench is cleared. Coach, I mean, we had parents come out. We had teams come out. Like I said, we had 6 to their 15. And, and we have the footage. I might probably want to bury the footage more than anybody else because I got drop kicked.
That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
But I got kicked.
But Anthony wasn't even looking. The funniest part about it is the fact that Anthony was looking the other way, and this dude came from behind him. And he didn't try to swing on him. He like drop kicked him in his hip.
He could have knocked me out if he wanted to. I would have never saw it coming. But so at this point, it's 8 a.m. We're now kicked out of the tournament, right? So. You would think you weren't there.
Right.
So you would think we would all get in trouble to go home.
No,
we go hit the mall.
We were hype after that.
Yeah. we went to the mall. I'm like, oh, shoot, man, we got all day to go try to talk to girls and see movies.
Yeah.
But I bring that story up, man, Cole, to segue, and as we talk through just a little bit of your career, of just the people can understand how tough you really are. Like it's no act. Like I've seen it since day one. And so I want to ask both y'all about your training camp experiences going into the league. Posh, for you were a 3rd round pick that you thought you were gonna be 1st round if you didn't bust up your ankle. Cole, for you, man, you've been getting overlooked since the day I met you. So you're going in with something to prove. Cole, for the way I recall it, man, and I'd love to hear from you. There was a moment where you were like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me. So I'd love to hear your training camp experience. And then, Pops, I'm gonna segue this into your training camp experience because you got some stories about it as well.
Okay, well, I like it.
Yeah, I was so, like I said, with that belief, I believed in myself so much. I was mad. Like I kind of saw the politics of it right when I got there, right? So, I'm going in thinking I should play like now, right? And you kind of already see how things shake out with guys making this much money and this much money. Those are the guys that are going to be in because it's a business. So, and then, there's people telling you got to wait your turn. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to play now. So that kind of frustrated me a little bit. So that was the reason I was like, I don't know if they'll ever. I really thought they would never give me a shot to actually play. So, and then I got coaches telling me at the same time, like you gotta go above and beyond. You gotta make a spark every day, whereas other guys can miss a day or whatever, and they'll still make it because of how big they are, right? So then all that, and then I got a lot of media attention early because I said I thought I could play a little bit more outside than Welker. So the free agent guy, and I wasn't a guy that wanted a lot of attention. So all those things kind of combined was overwhelming for me. So then I thought I didn't really want to do it. I didn't think it was worth it. I would wake up kind of throwing up in the morning every day. I was just all stressed out and over something that I thought I loved, football, right? But that kind of took all of my love out of it. So I went home for a little bit. Mom and Dad, like they always are, they're always there for me. So they were waiting on me. They drove from San Antonio all the way to Dallas. By the time my flight got there, they were there. So they talked to me. I slept that night, and then I called Jerry back, and I came back. But parents helped me out on that one. I'm glad they did. It worked out.
Parents are awesome. And again, we thought you strike these similarities from the standpoint of your mom, pops, at the airport. My dad, Joe, my first preseason game, which we didn't go, was, Thousand Oaks was a training camp for us. Was Oxnard for you then, or was it?
Oxnard.
So we're in Southern California, but our first preseason game was in Seattle.
Yeah.
And my dad drove a 2-seater to Seattle it's like about 800 miles, basically same situation there. Yeah. To see the first game that I played like 0 minutes in, but the bottom line, he was there, and was always there. You remember my father. I mean, my father was, I love him. He was a trip, and he was my agent. That's kind of how we went. But,
right.
That's kind of Cole's story, so to speak, but there's another similarity, which is odd from the standpoint that when I came to the team, though, hey, I came there with the intentions of starting. Hey, I was naive, and this backup role. I'm looking at this ain't what's happening here. I'm good enough to be on the field. I'm ready to start.
That's how I felt. I was drafted.
Hey, I didn't come to make the team. I came to start. And that was the attitude that I had. And as a matter of fact, it's funny. There was one of my teammates named Drew Pearson. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Drew was all pro. He was the man. And I said, hey man, Only reason you're starting in front of me is just because, like when I was at Stanford, no matter how bad that dude was, he wasn't going to start in front of me. You know, that's the situation. And FYI, we had a guy that played on my team that was, I'm not sure he backed me up or he's on the other side, but you guys you've heard of this guy. His name was James Lofton. And he saw minimal action that year. The next year, he just turned the league out. He could fly. But the bottom line is that, hey, we came in there with the attitude that we want to start. But you know what? That's what takes you to the next level, though. You know, and you know that's hopefully those are things that you're going to ingrain and share with your kids. You know, you want to. One of the things I used to always tell you, I just want you to be the best that you can be. Life doesn't require you to be the biggest or the best. It only asks that you try. Now, if you got athleticism to go along with that, or you know that the right attitude, which which makes a big difference in your life, you're going to take it to the next level. You definitely have that. And how do you feel about that perspective? Do you share those things?
I think, yeah, for sure. I think it's the mental aspect is bigger than the physical, for sure. And it's that belief and that drive. And 1,000%, I tell my son that all the time. You know, because he you know, if he doesn't win, he's furious once, but then he's always like, "Oh, I suck, this and that," and I'm like, "No, we're not doing that, right?" It starts there, and it starts with your mind. If you don't believe and you don't think you can do it, then it's not going to happen. Whatever you do think, that's what's going to happen, right? In my opinion.
Yeah. So like, you know, those striking similarities going into training camp. I take a step back because I missed as you're talking about your mindset. Cole, you said it right before. You're like, man, I always believed. Mm-hmm. I watched you play quarterback in high school, and like, jury's out if there was a better quarterback in high school in Cole in Texas. Right? He was turning it out. Man, as you moved to wide receiver, because you did the same thing going. What was that like for you mindset? Were you prepared for that?
So I knew I had to, right? So I remember when I went to a 3-day camp at SMU, they wanted me to play quarterback, and I told them no. And I was like, I'm gonna play receiver. And the same thing, I went to a U of H camp. It was like a 1-day or something like that, and they wanted me to play quarterback too. I threw a few with them, but I was like, I'm not playing quarterback in college. And honestly, if it wasn't for basketball, I don't think I would have been able to make that transition. I kind of took hooping, like one-on-one basketball, to the slot.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what made it easier for me to believe that I could do that. Is just, you know, there's a dude in front of me, I just got to make him miss, or I got to get around him, and that was what basketball was. So that's why I try to get my kids to play basketball as much as possible. And even if they don't want to play basketball, they don't like it, I'm like, basketball can help you do whatever you want to do later.
And, you know, and it's crazy you say that. You know, in the off season, all I did, I played basketball.
That's all I did too.
Yeah. So you know, that's how, you know. And so what's crazy though, we're talking about this, and you know, again, for our listeners over here, we got Cole Beasley over here, big time ball player, a guy I had the luxury of coaching, but comes over to the house. You know, I'm not sure if it was during the season, but I think it was during the season. I think it was like Thanksgiving. We had the family over. It was just a small family at that time, but you know, his wife and it might have been Ace at that time. Was Ace there, or was it just you and the wife?
I brought Ace over there maybe one time.
Yeah. I think but the bottom line is that he's out in the backyard. I don't know were you injured, but anyway, you were shooting right hand and left handed. Do you recall that at all out in the backyard? I used to have the basketball hoop. Hey, I used to have these guys competing even at 4th of July parties, man. Hey.
Yeah, 4th of July parties.
You remember that?
Yes, it's weird. After I stopped playing, after I stopped playing basketball, for some reason, I developed a jumper with my left hand. I don't know why.
Hey, I mean, you were stoking them. I would say, hey, I was
way better with my left now than I ever could when I was playing basketball.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, again, part of the thing that goes with me, guys. If for people that listen to us, I digress. I go, Cole. I'm here, and the next thing you know, we're talking softball, football. I mean, but the bottom line is that, you know, you're talking about toughness, and I'm going back to the toughness scenario over there. Cole comes over to my house, freaking, 9 years old, maybe 10, 10 years old, and he's got a finger that's freaking hanging off his hand. And I'm saying, what the heck is this? He said, I injured a little bit. I don't even know if you went into the details with me. I said, wait, we got to call your dad. We got to call mom. I cannot let you play like this. We got a 10-year-old who's got a finger just about to fall off. And I called Dad. He said, hey, I saw it. It's no problem. We just wrapped it up. He'll be fine. I said, what? He'll be fine. I said, wait a minute. I said, oh, no, I know. And his dad's a football coach. So understand this. His dad's a football coach. He's gun-ho, tough, tough guy, and a great coach. He did a great job. But I said, hey, I got to call my partner, which was your mom. I got to call my partner to find out about, hey, I just want you to know, I'm probably going to need to take him to the emergency room. We might have to get stitches, blah, 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 blah. She goes, he'll be all right. Just let him play. Yeah. And guess what? Hey, the next day, and I really felt bad, but the next day I had him out there playing probably out of 40 minutes of the game, 37 of them, I had him out there and play, and didn't miss a beat, And so, hey, that's the kind of mentality, and I loved it always from you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so what role you think your parents played in how tough you were?
Huge. I mean, my dad, for sure, anytime like I got hurt or anything like that, he was quick to call us a weenie if we like wussed out about anything. So that kind of always drove us, I think. And my mom's right there with him. She was tough too. So whatever, they were always on the same page. I will say that about my parents, they were always on the same page. So it was very consistent.
Yeah.
And I try to take that to my kids as well. I don't ever want my kids to see me and my wife going two different ways. I think that's important, and they were that for me always.
So Cole, one of the things that as a player, and again, we have these similarities that we've talked about, but when I grew up though, my dad used to say, "Hey, look, man, my dad loved football. He loved sports, but football in particular, and he wasn't a coach, but he was always there with me. He was like a coach, so to speak. And so, but the bottom line is, he said, hey, man, you want to be a top player, you need to sit here and watch these games. And you need to find a player that you like. He never necessarily said that, but he would say, if you can play like this guy, you can make it in the NFL. He always had confidence in my ability, but he wanted me to be able to take it to the next level. And so my idols were Roger Staubach. I wore number 12 in high school. Joe Namath. I like Joe Namath. And I liked the number one because they always, all the quarters I'm talking about, they threw the ball. So as a quarter, I could run, I could scramble. I was second in the league in rushing and first in passing. But the bottom line is that I wanted to throw the ball. And Joe Namath, hey, he said they were going to win the Super Bowl. My kind of guy. They were the underdog, so to speak. Who inspired you? Was there anybody that inspired you to take it to the next? Or did you pattern yourself after?
There were guys that I watched that were similar, but I don't know. I was a huge Kobe fan. Remember that? His mentality is kind of, I feel like I took that and applied that to what I was doing. There were no friends out there. You're competing no matter what, and just that dog in him that he had. And then I know we weren't similar, but Randy Moss was like my guy.
Right.
When I was watching football, and then he went to New England, and that's when I kind of stumbled upon Wes Welker, and it's just like people tell me all the time. They're like, I see you, and it makes me think I could have played. You know what I mean? So I feel like that was kind of like what Wes did for me. He was a smaller guy.
Right.
Even though he was like way more swole than I was, he was the real big swole.
Debatable.
But it's crazy. Everybody thinks those guys are similar, but once I got into the league and I started watching certain guys, like the way Wes ran routes and got open, once you do it for a while, you start to notice, like me and him ran routes completely different, which is kind of wild because we're built the same, but people automatically assume if you're like the same size as that guy, you are exactly the same. I said him and Amendola were very similar. I was more similar to Edelman, in my opinion, just how we came off the ball and how we did releases, we would come to balance, whereas Amendola and Welker were big stem guys, and I hated stemming, off the line. But it was just kind of crazy, seeing that. But anyways, I went kind of down a rabbit hole, but those are the guys that I kind of...
That's what we're here for.
Yeah,
we love the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, without a question. I think, one of the things as well that you brought to the table, though, not necessarily... being a quarterback, being a quarterback that ran the ball a lot as well. I mean, you were a guy that, hey, they gave you a chance and the guy wasn't open, boom, I'm gone. Hey, you know what I mean?
High school was the most fun I ever had playing football.
Hey, I used to sit up in the press box with your mom. Like I said, Pop said, hey, and I'm watching. I said, he's going to take off.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching this, so I can see this. Oh, he's going to take off. And the thing about it is that the difference between you and I, though, Cole, is that when I say that, your speed you were faster than I was. I had good speed. I think you had really darn good speed. I mean, hey, you're running the 400 relay, 4x4 relay. Did you run the 200 as well?
I didn't run the 4. I ran the 4x1 and the 4x2.
Right, 4x1 and
4x4 was too far.
Right. Yeah, but hey, he was rolling on that. I'm talking about picking him up, turning some corners, and then long jumping at that. Hey, you're jumping about what 22, 23 feet maybe, or are you?
I think at 23. I forgot what my record was there. I think someone just broke it this year.
Did it really?
My buddy told me that.
Yeah, I'm doing about 19 and a half. Hey, I'm about this high off the ground, cold like this off the ground. But I had ups though. But I just couldn't long jump. I had ups.
I was a 2-footed jumper too. So jumping off 1 foot was tough for me. I thought I was really good at long jump until I went to this one track meet and Marquise Goodwin was there.
Oh snap!
And I got second.
Texas? Was he Texas? Or?
Yeah. He's playing the league right now, but. I think I got second in that meet, and he beat me by like 4 or 5 feet. Wow. Like I wasn't even close.
Wow.
But I was like talking shit. I was like, man, if I ran the 100 in the damn 10-3, I'll jump that far too.
Yeah, he can roll. He can roll. That's true. That's for sure.
Yeah. Cool. Now, all right. Now that we were talking through just some good memories and good times, as your boy, there's a game for me that sticks out to you in your pro career as maybe the most satisfying one to watch you in. But do you have a game that you look back on that you're like, man, this was either my best game, most satisfying in your NFL career?
Buffalo versus Dallas.
Boom.
Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah.
So, here's the funny thing about it, though. I'm talking to Anthony. I'm saying, hey, we're going to talk. I want to talk, basically personal life and et cetera. And Anthony says, hey, we got to talk about one game. Yeah. There's one game, and that's the Dallas versus Buffalo.
Yeah.
I said, well, you think Cole's going to bring that up? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to try to prelude it over there. Yeah, he preludes it, and you walk right into it. You say, hey, so talk to us about that game.
Man, I don't know where I want to start on this one. Really, if I could have had it my way, I would have stayed in Dallas my entire career and played for one team, just like Kobe did. That's what I wanted to do. But also at the same time, I knew what I wanted to do as a player, and I felt like staying there, I wasn't going to be able to do that. And you know how, like I was talking about earlier with the money, like that stuff matters, right? Gives them more incentive to give you the ball. They offered me the same contract like 3 times. Literally, I turned it down 3 times. They just kept sending the same one. Didn't adjust it at all. And with how much the money was, I knew what my role was going to be. And I wanted more. I felt like I could take on more. I feel like I proved in 2016 when Dez got hurt that I could take on a little more than what they were willing to give me. So that was more what it was about. I just wanted to be more involved. And people always say it's about the money, but it's more about what the money makes the team do, in my opinion. So Buffalo felt the slot position was more important, so they put more money into it. So that's why I went there. Simple as that.
Okay, so you talked about why you went there. Now talk to us.
All right,
Come on now.
So I forgot why we started that conversation.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, I felt like I wasn't as valued as I wanted to be there. So, and then me being me, I can't keep my opinions to myself. I was kind of talking a little smack on my way out. But
I recall.
Yeah, but I get to Buffalo, and then the schedule comes out. And I remember this because my wife was like, "That's your fault." But it showed Buffalo hadn't played on Thanksgiving in a while,
right?
And it was my first year there, and I'd been popping off a little bit. And then the schedule comes out that we play them on Thanksgiving. So I see it, and my wife's like, "That's your fault." And I'm like, "Shoot, I'm ready for that. Yeah. Like I'm licking my chops for that one."
There you go.
So then that game comes, and I'm like, I'm loose. I'm not nervous. Usually I'm a little nervous for the game. For that one, I wasn't really that nervous. I was ready to go. And I was talking to all my buddies at Dallas. It was all cool. But when that game started, it was grind time now. Yeah, it was on. And the cool thing about it though, I feel like my coach was calling plays to help me do that because he knew, and Dayball was by far favorite OC that I've played for.
Really?
He's a real players guy.
Okay.
And he would come with me with opinions on what we should run and this and that. I brought a lot of stuff from June Jones in college. And it was stuff that I tried to pitch to Dallas, and they were like, "You can't do that in the NFL." Mm-hmm. And literally the play I scored on was a play I tried to get Dallas to run the whole time I was there, and they would never do it. But
was it an option route?
Kind of. It's like it's not really the option. It's more like a reaction, right? So I'm like in the seam. As soon as we have it's 3-by-1. Number 3 goes to flat. I'm number 2. Outside's on a go, and as soon as the flat player widens, then I widen in that window, and we either throw it unless the hook player gets in the way. If the hook player gets in the way, then I just react and go next window in the middle. So, and that's the one you really want. You want them to overplay the seam so you can get that big one in the middle, and they did, and that's the play I scored on. But that was definitely the most satisfying game of my career because I wanted to stick it to them so bad. And you always want to let them know, what they're missing out on. So that was kind of my deal.
Nice. Oh, that's good stuff, and obviously, we both bleed silver and blue because I know that you want to, like you said, you want to spend your whole career here in the Kobe mentality, so to speak, and
I love Dak. Dak's probably he's my favorite quarterback that I played with.
Oh snap! Because I'm going to ask you a question about that, so we're going to reserve that. But I like that. I like that. I love that attitude.
What you got for him?
Well, you had a chance to play with Josh, right?
Yeah, great. That was awesome too.
You had a chance to play with Dak. So let's go this way as opposed to like who's better. I don't want to go like who's better, but what are the strengths? What do you feel like the strengths were for Josh? And with Dak, and then I'm gonna go even further though. Do you think that those guys can make it to the Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. And in fact, if they do make it to the Super Bowl, can they win it? Because I see a lot of people really kind of saying the same thing about both of them, so to speak. They can kind of get you there, but they just can't. They can't give you the ring. And I can get you to the wedding, but I'm not going to put the ring on your finger. Yeah. So tell me, what do you think about the strengths about Josh? What are his strengths?
I love playing with all the quarterbacks I play with first. So let me say that Josh is. Honestly, I think it's by a landslide too, the most physically gifted quarterback I've ever played with. Mm-hmm. Like just arm and the way he can run with the ball, and also I love his mentality. He's a dog out there. He's playing like how I played in high school,
right?
But in the NFL, which is nuts, right? So
he's not calling plays on the ground saying, "Hey man, Cole,
no,
I'm just being sarcastic."
No, he's not doing that. He's just like. He's just out there. He's not thinking. He's just playing. He's just hooping. He's putting his body on the line. He ain't worried about getting hurt.
Right.
Which, the coaches don't want him to do that always. But he's a big dude, and that's just him. You take that out of him. You're kind of taking him out of it. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why we were so good, and why they're so good now. But Dak is just. It's like a feeling in the huddle, man. When I can tell you this from when he was a rookie. Romo was out. He took a day off because of his back or something like that. And then Kellen was our number 2, and he broke his thumb or something with his hand that practice. And we had a 2-minute drill at the end. And this is the first time Dak's ever stepped in the huddle was in 2 minutes. And I'm with the ones at this point in my career. I don't know what year it was for me. It was 16. Year 4 or 5 or something like that. But so we have no idea what to expect with this dude coming in the huddle. He steps in that huddle like that huddle was his from the jump. Mm-hmm. And as a rookie, right. And it's not like he was a first round draft pick. He's a late round draft guy. And just when he carries that is no different from when he stepped in the huddle 3 years later and he was starting. He was the same guy from the jump. And I've never seen a rookie just come in and command the huddle the way he did and just instill belief in all the players. And I've said this before, he's the best leader I've ever played with. When you step in that huddle and it was 2 minutes, every time he stepped in there, I'm like, we're about to win.
That's a heck of a compliment.
We're about to win.
Right now, I had a quarterback similar to that, and I had 2 good quarterbacks. I mean, there's a distinct difference, I think, between the 2 of them, although they were good. Danny White was one that played towards the end, but Roger Staubach was that true leader. I mean, he was a bad boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was that true leader, and he commanded that type of respect when he got in the huddle. And it wasn't by like just saying it; it's just the way he conducted himself. All right, hit Tony. As a matter of fact, the best game I ever had in my career was against the Philadelphia Eagles. I had like 215, 220 yards and like 6 catches. Yeah. But 2 of them, the 2 touchdowns I had were a 75 and 80-yard touchdown. Right? Mm-hmm. They were both. He goes, "Hey, Tony. What's the guy doing on the backside?" I said, "I can beat him on the post." He says, "Hey, I'm going to look this way and I'm going to come your way if you're open." That type of leadership. He reached out to me, mm-hmm. that kind of, and then he took control and we knew what was happening. You're saying Dak provides that same type of leadership out there. Am I correct?
It was just a feel. Like when he stepped in the huddle, he just breathes confidence throughout the whole group. And that's something that can't be taught. It's just, You either have that or you don't. And he's one of the. He might be the only player that I've played with that's like that.
That's strong. I'm gonna tell you that's strong.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you think they can both get to the Super Bowl? Can Josh take the Bills to the Super Bowl? Can Dak take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl? Because that's the story with Dak, and that not necessarily it's the story with Dak is inevitable, but for the simple fact that the Cowboys haven't been to the playoffs, haven't been to the champion. Can he do it? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in Dak, and I think Josh can too. Both of them are good enough quarterbacks to win in the Super Bowl. Not just get there, they can win it.
You think they can not just get there, they can win it?
Yeah.
Well, I just want our listeners to hear that right there, because hey, that's a big statement right there, and that's coming from a wideout right there. Man, I like that totally.
That's great. And so, Cole, what we usually do once we get to this point where we start wrapping up, we always go back into a couple of things. We talk a little breakfast. We also talk a little family.
Right.
We hit on this a little bit before, but man, you got 3 beautiful kids and a wife that you've known since high school.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up a coach's son. Now you're starting to coach the kids.
Yep.
What do you think are some things, man? You talked about consistency. You talked about belief that they instilled in you.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things, man, that you really want to make sure that you hammer home with your kids that you got from your household?
As well, tell us about your family, though. Tell us about your wife and your kids, and
you talk a little Jovi, Red, and Ace. So let's hear about them.
Yeah. So the main thing that I tell my kids more than anything is, so we talk about integrity, all right, and I kind of go through it with them a little bit, and I tell them integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's watching, right, and then confidence and believe in yourself. All right, those are some of the things that we talk about. But really I just want them to be good people at the end of the day. And I'm trying to instill work ethic into them. My oldest right now, just thinks that he just should be good automatically no matter what, So that's one of the hardest things is having to actually try hard and work all the time to be good at something. That's something we're working on right now. But really at the end of the day, I just want them to be good people and treat others well. There's always those kids at school who, maybe are picking on kids or bullying kids for whatever reason. I'm the type to tell mine to hang out with the ones that they're picking on, right? And kind of be there for them. Because you never want any kid to feel alone ever. So, and I want my kids to hang out with kids not for popularity, but because they're good friends, right? Yeah. We deal with a lot of that, and I talk to them about that a lot. But Ace is he's my redhead. He's fiery. He's a lot like me, probably a little more stubborn than me. Like I said, we get into it a lot on the field, but I like it though. I'll never take it away. He's super fiery. He's competitive. Everett's my 7-year-old. He's my middle child. He's just now kind of getting into sports. He was pretending to be Spider-Man for a while. That was kind of his jam.
You can identify that in.
Yeah. He just got out of that, and now he's actually the one who likes basketball the most. But we just started, and he's just getting into it. I was the assistant coach for his team in the winter because it's a bunch of 7-year-olds, and I was like, I don't know what to expect. I'm an assistant this time, and maybe next time I'll be the head coach so I can feel it out. But it was a blast coaching basketball. Head coach next time. It was fun. But he's like my sweet one. He can make friends anywhere. We're at the Great Wolf Lodge right now, and I'm like, dude, where you been? We've been in the water park for like 2 hours. I'm like, where you been? He's like, oh, I'm with my friends. I was like, you made friends? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. But that's anywhere we go. Out of all my kids, he's going to make a friend somewhere. But I don't know what it is. He has this personality where people just gravitate to him. And Jovi's my daughter. She's fiery. She's feisty. She hangs out with more boys than girls. I think that's because her 2 brothers. And she'll wrestle. So she's tough. Like I said, she just got her hand shut in the door, and she's even got like a little cut in the middle of her hand. And then she cried for like a minute, and then after that, she was cool.
See, that's where the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as we mentioned. I got a guy with a severed hand out here. Yeah. Moms and pops say it's okay, and he's okay with it too. So hey, same thing with the daughter. I get it.
Yeah, she's tough as nails, and she can fly. Like my boys are really big for some reason. Like they're bigger than all their friends, and I don't know why. I was not big. I'm hoping that, that keeps happening. Because I feel like I was kind of big until I got to like 6th grade and everybody passed me. But right now they're bigger than everybody. But Jovi's like a little more petite and she can roll. Like she's fast.
There you go.
And I was trying to tell my oldest yesterday. I was like, hey, because we were talking about how kids are different. He always gets frustrated if he's not the fastest one here, this and that. And I was like, well, at some point they may grow bigger. I was like, right now you're a big boy. You're moving a lot of weight. I mean, he's like 90 pounds. I mean, he's 9 years old. He's huge.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's huge. And I can show you a video in a little bit.
Okay.
We're in the semifinals of flag football last week, and we had nothing going. I couldn't score. We were struggling, right? So I say screw it. I throw to him like every and then I throw to this other kid named Jaron. He takes it to the house, but we get down there for a 2-point conversion. I was like, screw it. Hey, you run that way. You run that way. Ace, just go curl in the middle. We're going to throw it up to you. I throw it up to him. He goes and gets it over like the whole team because he's huge, right?
It's like that, okay.
But yeah, he's a big boy.
So he can catch, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's all he wants to do is throw the football in the yard and all that. So I'm kind of rambling everywhere. But this summer, since I haven't been home, like I've been traveling for football and everything, they'd be inside with mom and just to, she's got 3 kids. So, sometimes you use that TV as a little babysitter, right? And she did a great job with them. Now that dad's home this summer, we're like, and I don't have to go to training camp or anything or any mini camp. I'm like, we ain't doing the TV till 8 p.m. So now I got them going through like daddy training camp.
Yeah.
We're at the field like every day last week. And I'm calling like every kid. I'm going to coach the football team in the fall for Little League for my 9-year-old. So I'm like calling parents. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna grab so and so for a little while, and we're gonna go to the fields. And we're up there. I got all my kids up there from like 10 o'clock till 3 p.m. We're out there. They're out there just outside hooping.
Hey, see, too funny though, right? See, hey, remember we're at Hoop It Up. I'm over here recruiting. I'm not necessarily recruiting. I'm just checking out the game. Boom, there's Cole. As a matter of fact, Cole, and I want to come back to you. I had Anthony, so just like you're gonna have I had Anthony driving through neighborhoods. We went over to Hamilton Park looking for basketball players. I mean, we're just scouring the neighborhood. I mean, I'm at restaurants. I see a guy. You remember that big tall guy we had on? What was his name?
I don't know. It's been I think it was like Jonathan, but you remember there was like a 7-footer we brought out of nowhere, kind of chubby white dude.
Yeah,
it was all. We should have known. We said this last time. If you're that tall and you're available at this age, you couldn't play.
Right. But anyway, we brought him. That's what I was doing. So, are you going to be that kind of coach though? No, here, get this. The coach. I say, for example, you remember how I was as a coach with you guys. We played with 4 guys in the game. Because Dan was giving me lip service. I said, all right, we're just going to play with 4. And I only had 5 guys on the field on the basketball court. But I'll never forget this one, and we'll go back. Kevin Smith. Yeah. We're playing We're playing up in Humble or Kingwood tournament, the Kingwood basketball tournament. I got this guy. He's a player. Kevin was an athlete, a player. But he goes down. We're playing. I think we're playing the Houston Hoops or whatever the top team out there.
I don't recall.
But whatever it was, that team, they had the red on. Anyway, Kevin goes up for a slam and throws it down, gets fouled, and the crowd just goes crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, they go crazy. They come out the stand because they can't believe this thing. And Kevin and you guys high five. I say, hey man, let's stop there. You want to impress me? Make the free throw. Yeah. I don't want to hear all about this. I say, if you want to impress me, make the free throw. Talk to me. Do you see? And I'm sure Pops was kind of tough too. So talk to me about your philosophical belief over there. Was I too off with you guys?
No, I don't think so. I will say this. I will say my early times with y'all, I was scared to make a mistake.
Were you?
A little bit, yeah.
I had you guys like
because
that,
I didn't want to get pulled. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if there's a little more of a leash to make mistakes, then they're playing a little bit more free, I would say. Now, eventually I got to that point, but I guess because it was a little new to me. My dad didn't coach me a lot in Little League. He did T-ball, but after I kind of learned the fundamentals of the game, I was with other coaches. So I wasn't really with my dad all the time like that until I got to high school. So I don't know how he would have been for me in youth.
Sure.
But I will say that about playing for you, but I also feel like that made me better at the same time. So,
wow,
it's hard to say.
Yes.
That's so interesting, man. Because one of the critiques I got going into college,
Yeah.
my high school coach was telling college coaches that they didn't think I could play for anyone that wasn't my dad.
Yeah.
Because he always instilled that belief in me that like if I miss 17 in a row, better not hesitate on that 18th.
100%.
Other coaches might have said, "Hey, you missed 17 in a row, man. Maybe let's look." So that's how I'm pulling up in games, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm over 17, but I bet the 18th goes in."
100%.
And I can recall vividly, talking to a college coach who had kind of backed off the recruitment. And I'm like, "Man, what's happening?" And he's like, "Hey, man, the verdict out there is that you can only play for your pops." I'm like, "Okay." So that, as you talk about things you take, one thing that I'm gonna take from my daughters, I'm definitely gonna coach some stuff, but I am similar to you, gonna like, hey, let them go out a little bit so they can learn some other voices. Cause that's one thing I struggled with when I got to college.
Well, I didn't say I was going to do that. I'm gonna coach my kids for now, and then I'll see kind of how it goes. Once they get to high school and everything, it'll be. I mean, depending on, I may get into coaching.
There you go.
Who knows? I may coach high school as well, but I'm gonna coach them through youth, and then after that, I may let them go, but I don't know, because I love coaching. Coaching is like what I'm doing now, and that's kind of where I feel like my life's headed.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't want to coach college or NFL, but high school is as high as I would go, because I don't want to travel. I want to be around for my family, but.
And see, the thing, and I love hearing what you say, but the thing about being that coach, with your kids and et cetera, is that you give them a chance to let them play. You don't have a guy, you don't have some guy telling, hey, you can't take that shot, or hey, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
As being that coach, because again, I was tight on you guys from that standpoint, yet I gave you guys flexibility. Like, for example, taking the jump shot. You had green light, but if Anthony's wide open over you, and you're taking a shot with somebody in your face, and you can explain that, hey, my shot was better than giving him that shot, then okay, But some coaches would never give you that chance, or may freeze you, like in the NFL sometimes. Right. So that's a luxury of being a father, a coach, and enjoying the process. So I'm glad to hear that you're gonna coach and be a part of that type of situation. So what we do here as well, is that breakfast with the boys. So breakfast, that's what we're talking about. Breakfast with the boys.
Always close with breakfast.
Always got to close with breakfast.
All
so.
right.
Cole, what's your go-to breakfast now and back when you were younger? When you were younger, what did you select to eat?
It's always been kind of the same for me. So it's eggs over medium, probably like 4 of them, and then it's either sausage links or sausage patties, and then it's probably breakfast potatoes if I can do that, or if not, then there's hash browns and wheat toast with a coffee.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's it.
That's healthy. That's a healthy breakfast right there.
That's a healthy breakfast right there.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's a good breakfast.
Hey, awesome.
And I'm cleaning it up.
Ain't nothing left, huh?
Hey, well, give love to family, moms and pops, obviously sis and brother, tell them we said hello, because you're always part of our family. I don't think I was there that much with you in college because I had everybody else going doing their things, but growing up, going to watch the games has always been a joy. Man, it's a bit blessing to have you on our show. Hey, that concludes our show for episode 8. Cole Beasley, number 11 in your heart, number 1 on your team.
I think he's number 1 in both, but I can get down with that. Yeah.
Oh, we got
the next one.
Yeah, that's a double one, baby. That's a double one. You see what I'm saying?
Took a journey to the other side. Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive. You gon' feel